Sorry, I just ran in from downstairs rather. Oh, you probably can't hear me. Okay, I don't think we have anybody in here yet, but well, let's start again. I'm on a delay, so who knows. So I'm trying out a new tripod and a new microphone today. So if you could let me know, number one, that you can hear me, of course, but just how the quality is, the sound quality, compared to prior episodes, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, Zach. And how you doing this morning? Just out of curiosity, how does it sound compared to, like, say, like last week's video or something? I only ask because I still have to. The tripod I was using before this, the one that broke, I got from Costco, and it came with a microphone. So it's the type of deal that because it's from Costco, oh good, because it's from Costco, I can return it whenever. So that's definitely helpful. I don't know if you guys saw from Brian's show, I am flying solo today. My wife is out running errands, and my little guy just went down for a nap. You can see right there. Awesome. Good. I'm happy that this worked out. I can go get some money back from Costco, which it's going to be a change of pace from any other time I go to Costco. So nice Saturday here. We are up in the living room either way. I kind of like doing my live streams up here. I don't know. You know what it is? I think it's because I record the majority of my videos downstairs, which is also my office. So it's like I'm always in that same workspace, if you know what I mean. And I've been working crazy hours. I've been saying this actually the last couple, hey Brian, the last couple weeks, but yeah, I mean, it's nuts. It's nuts. And the audio is really similar. I honestly can't tell a difference. Good. Okay, that's good to hear. Hi, fanboy. How are you doing today? And Brian, welcome back from vacay. Main event. I still haven't gotten the Metal Societies yet. I didn't go back to my LCS this week, so I'm probably going to do that. If not next week, then definitely the following week. To be honest with you, I'm still working through that big haul I picked up 2 weeks ago. So I'm in no rush, and I know that the last couple of weeks have been light for me at my LCS anyway. But we'll talk about that in a bit. I have to go back and look at who entered the giveaway from last week because I got the prize ready to go. I didn't send it out yet. I'll probably send that out maybe Monday or Tuesday along with this week's. Are you all getting number 5? Are you getting? Yeah. I mean, at this point, I think I had issues 2, 3, and 4 waiting for me. He was back ordering number 1. And I told him, look, at this point, just grab number 5. But we'll see. It's kind of hit and miss sometimes, to be honest with you. A couple comics. How you doing, sir? I didn't have any coffee this morning either, so this might be interesting. We'll see if I just start tweaking out in the middle of it. And by the way, I want to thank Master and Madam again for the awesome coffee cup and for the awesome AOK, the drawing that Madam made. Really nice. If you haven't seen that, I put that video out earlier in the week, and yeah, really fantastic. I have to actually get a nice frame for that. I'm going to frame that one and the one that the drawing that Dave Bratton gave me that I've been showing off, and hang that up downstairs soon. I also got my BCW order in, so I could finally start going back to the organization that I started with, the organization project, I should say. I know that Digger Jim brought that up on my Gary B interview last week, and yeah, I got to get to that because my wife's been asking again. But let me show you. I'll show you some of the pickups first. So first, this isn't a new pickup, but after last week's show, I went to Dewey's Comic City, I think is their official title, in Dover, New Jersey. Thought I was subbed already, corrected that just now. No problem, man. That's not a problem. Look, I understand that there's only so much time in the day to watch YouTube videos. I was kind of surprised too. Like I'll go to a channel and sub it, and then it doesn't look like it's there. I don't know, but that's all good. No problems, man. Yeah, so following the show last week, I went to Dewey's Comic City, which is the next town over from here. It's in Dover, New Jersey. It's actually in the Joe Kubert School. I had never been there before, at least since they moved. They used to be in neighboring Madison, New Jersey for a long time. It was a nice little spot, different owner. Unless you're a chop and drop, you can freeze time and watch everyone. That is true. That is true. I'll tell you too. Like it's kind of funny that I'll go and I'll watch like another live stream, whether it's live or recorded, because most of the live streams I watch are recorded. I think the only ones that I actually watch live at this point are both of Reggie's live shows on Wednesday and Sunday, Brian's show, of course, and I think that's it. I usually jump in at the tail end of other shows. It's just timing and just look, a lot to do. You know, I try not to. I try not to. I try to make it a point to, if I feel like I'm doing one thing too much, and that could be anything from TV to comics to just recording. I'll stop and purposely just do something else, and it just kind of keeps you, I think, from number one, burning out on what you're doing, and just number two, just staying more connected. And especially, look, the weather is still nice, so we like to go outside and just go for little walks around the neighborhood or downtown, like my video from yesterday. You know, just to break up the day. Um, what else just made me think of? I'm losing my train of thought. Oh yeah, balance, precisely. So I went to Dewey's. They used to again have a different location in Madison, New Jersey. It was a different owner, but I think about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Anthony Marquise from DC Comics bought it, and just around the time he bought the Joe Kubert School as well, I believe. And they put it all into one building, which makes a lot of sense. And I went there because Doug Bratton and Delia Gunderson were having a signing for Isolation, and I bought another copy. Well, this copy actually I bought from Reggie directly. Let's see, left and right. Still learning that here. So I brought this one to get signed, and I actually bought another copy and gave it to Psychedelic. I haven't seen him here today. While we were there, just he mentioned he hadn't read it yet. I was like, oh, here you go. Keep it going. This copy, this I was talking about last week for my giveaway. I forgot who entered the giveaway. There was only one person, but I'll go back into last week's chat and take a look, and I'll get that sent off again, at least at some point this week. And I apologize for the delay. Yeah, I do have one giveaway for this week. I didn't really prepare. Again, it's been a busy week, and I'll go into that. Actually, let's just do that right now. So while I was at Dewey's, I was just looking for basically to see what their back issues were and what maybe some of their more recent modern comics were that I may have missed. And I picked up a couple of the Film Noto Quiet Council covers. And I was collecting these, but for whatever reason, I don't know why, just didn't get them. So I have number 5 here, and this is an Exodus cover. And I'm really glad to see in the Krakoan age of X-Men that he's getting some due. You know, he's the type of character, in my opinion, that he'll pop up on everybody's radar for like 10 minutes and then go away for 20 years or so. And the next is Immortal X-Men number 4. And this is the White Queen cover. Thank you, Brian. Yes, please hit that like button if you wouldn't mind, or just pet it. You know, as long as you get the little thumbs up, that's fine. I don't want you to break your phone. So here's the problem. I picked this up, and then I realized I already have this issue. So if anybody wants this, you can go ahead and message me after the show. And this will be a giveaway. I'll throw this to you, and I'll throw a trade paperback in. I haven't quite decided yet, but go ahead and direct message me on Instagram. And we'll work that out. That'll be our giveaway for this week. So some other things I picked up earlier in the week. These are actually from the internet. I think I've completed the Hellfire Gala variants. Hello, nurse. It's kind of funny that I can't read that, Zach, without thinking of Animaniacs or trying to, at least in my head, sign like them. But yeah, Fanboy, Zach, if you guys want them, message me and we'll work it out. And like I said, I'm going to throw in a trade paperback too, only because that's the only duplicate I could find right now or that comes to mind. Or maybe I'll just make some random prize pack. We'll figure it out. So as I said, I've been working on the Hellfire Gala variants. I don't like them as much as I did last year, but I figured me being the completionist, these are the only ones I believe, at least, that I needed. And I'll show these off. Here's Avengers number 57. And yeah, they try to do something different by letting the other Marvel characters dress up. And some of them came out okay, some of them, This is just okay, in my opinion. I don't know. Trying to avoid the glare. I don't even know how there's any glare. Oh, maybe because I have the TV on. Let's see. Or it might be from my actual phone screen. Yeah, it's from the phone screen. But it's just okay. Not my favorite. Amazing Spider-Man number 5. Again, the Hellfire Gala variant. This is another one that's just okay. Here, I'll do that so we can get a better view. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. My opinion. It does kind of look like a little bit of a mishmash of Spider-Man 2099, I guess, if he were in Tron. just because he's got those little spiky things on the calves. And then the glowing things on his hands and feet for no reason. Captain America, Symbol of Truth, number 2. And I will read these variants, by the way, too. I haven't yet, but these are just what I picked up. And this is another one that's just okay, in my opinion. It kind of looks silly. It kind of, in my opinion, reminds me of something you would have seen out of like a 90s rap video. Like, I don't know, here's something Bobby Brown is wearing in his latest video. Maybe that dates me, but that's just my opinion. Kang the Conqueror, number 4. This was a variant. This one actually, I have the Kang the Conqueror series. I was getting it primarily because I like Kang, but primarily because of the Mike Del Mundo covers. This one was actually thrown in for free, so you can't beat that. And I think it's actually a pretty good cover. I had read this series, but I really don't remember it, so I can't really tell you too much about what happened in it. But yeah, and that wasn't that recent. This is a variant set that I haven't collected before, but I thought this one was pretty cool. This was Devil's Reign number 4, the ex-Gwen variant. So here you have Gwen Stacy as Psylocke, and this is from, who did this? Betsy Cola, who, a name I've heard, but I haven't really collected a lot of. Yep, free is a great price, fanboy, I agree. So I thought that was well done. This was another really interesting cover, and I think I picked up another cover by the same artist. I can't think of who the artist is, but this is Women of Marvel variant edition number 1. This is Magic, but with this really cool-looking Japanese artwork look to it. You know, the glare's from my phone, so unfortunately it's not going to get much better. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, and this is one that some may remember. I know that Trev had mentioned especially too. This was a incentive variant, which I don't typically go for. And I had the opportunity at one point to get it for, I think it was $35. And then I had noticed within the span of a week or two after it was released, the price had gone up to, I think, $125. And sure enough, Trev was right. Waited a couple days or waited a couple weeks rather, and the price went back down. So I actually scored this one for less than I first saw it for $30. This is the Hellfire Gala, and this is the, I think this is the Adam Hughes variant actually. And it's a shame the glare is there because this is probably my favorite of the variants so far. You have She-Hulk front and center. I didn't like how she looked for the gala, to be honest with you. It could take it or leave it. With Black Widow kind of hanging up on one bicep and Scarlet Witch on the other. So it's a great, great cover. And really, it's Adam Hughes. You can't really go wrong. And I'm just happy I got to snag that. That kind of completes my Hellfire Gala 2022 variants run there. I don't think that I'd be going for another one if they choose to do it, another Hellfire Gala. I didn't like the story this time, to be honest with you. I thought it was just kind of there. But anyway, these are two more books to go. This is, to be honest, I don't know off the top of my head who the artist is, but to me, excuse me, it was very reminiscent of Mike Del Mundo, but it has a different kind of a painterly look to it. This is more of like I want to say a watercolor look, but it's not like Peach Momoko. And this is X-Men 92, House of, I don't know what those letters are, number 3. This is a variant. And yeah, I'm going to focus in as much as I can. Just look at that. That looks really, really cool. And again, I make it a point where if I get a variant, I read it. You know, I'm not just picking them up to pick them up. And then finally, I've got Ant-Man number 2, the Al Ewing series. I haven't read the first one yet, so I'm going to read number 1 and 2 back to back. That's just like how I like to do them. Have you read this? Which one? Oh, The House of 92? I have not read it yet. I'm going to, though. I don't know. It's kind of silly, in my opinion. You know, and if you feel differently, great. That's just how you feel. It's fine. Nobody's wrong. Just to buy something because of the cover, and I fell into that trap a couple times as well. But at the end of the day, these are meant to be read and loved, and you know, what you do after that is fine if you want to slab it or whatever. But I figure at least let me read it once, and you never know. Sometimes you get surprised with a really good story. Such was the case with when I talked about Moon Knight a couple episodes ago. I thought that was really interesting. And you know what, too, at the same point, you find some things to avoid. I could tell you, that like the Shang-Chi one sticks out that I didn't care for it. Iron Man I thought was interesting if I remember, but we'll have to go back and look. If you have not read X-Men 92, House of 92, you are in for something. Okay. You know what it is? I read the first 2 volumes, I think, of, was it X-Men 92? No, it was either X-Men 92 or X-Men Forever. Either way, I thought that they were okay, but I couldn't really see them going anywhere else, and I figured maybe one day I'd read them online. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. As far as what I read this week, if you saw the last time I went to my LCS, it was a pretty big haul. So I'm still working through that, but I decided to take a break and finally start reading Batman and Catwoman, and I got a few, little bit more than halfway through. So I'll show you off here, and then I'll give you my general kind of assessment of the story thus far. And I haven't finished it yet, so spoiler alert, you know, no spoilers at least. Here's issue 1. I think this is the Jim Lee variant. Issue number 2, this is the standard variant, and I have to say this is a Clayman art. If you haven't read this, Clayman is doing great work in this. I don't read a whole lot of I haven't seen a whole lot of his artwork. The last thing, to be honest with you, that comes to mind that I think I read from Clayman was, now I can't think of the name of it. It was another Tom Taylor team up, but Heroes in Crisis, yes. And I thought his artwork was really well in that. Issue 3, and I remember there was a lot of buzz around this when this came out because it was the first time Phantasm was going to be in a comic. Issue 4, this is another Jim Lee variant. This is with Batman and Catwoman's daughter. Mr. Bigger, how are you, sir? Hey, Kenneth. Issue 5, I believe this is the standard cover, again with Jim Lee. Jim Lee and my phone, apparently. I have to figure out a way to kill that glare without losing the image, I guess. Issue 6, this is another Jim Lee variant. And in this series, I could tell you, I didn't ask my LCS to specifically put any particular covers aside. You know, Sean is good like that. He just grabs them when he can. Issue 7 is another variant. I don't think this is Jim Lee. I don't see a signature on it. It doesn't really look like his style. It's Batman stuck in this bank vault, which was an interesting kind of piece to the story. I enjoyed how he got out of that. And I just had finished last night issue number 8. This is another variant. Kind of like the upside down Spider-Man kiss scene. This is Jim Lee as well. And I know that this series is a little bit older at this point. I didn't want to start reading it until all the pieces came out. And yeah, like anything else in 2022, it was delayed. But all in all, I'm enjoying the story so far. I have to reread some different parts to it because I kind of don't understand why Phantasm. I'm trying to think of a way to say things without giving out too much. Why Phantasm kind of has a change of heart at one point, seemingly. They kind of left it where that was kind of biting her in the ass at that point. But we'll have to see. I'm going to just catch up with the chat for a second. Salman Grundy can't contain him. How is Batman trapped in a bank vault? Zach, you got to read the comic. I have to say, it was interesting. People saying, good morning. Did you get the Batman Catwoman special? I did. I didn't read it yet. I figured I would read that right before issue 12. I think that's how the order that they came out in. But all in all, like I said, I've been enjoying the story. I agree. Somebody made the comment just earlier that Tom King gets a lot of unnecessary Batman hate. And to be honest, I really liked his run, and this is kind of part of the problem, but why I started picking this up, because from what I understand, or at least what I heard, this was actually supposed to be the last arc of his run, and DC cut him short. You know, I like it when a new writer comes in and kind of changes up the status quo, or it makes it a little bit different without being too different, if that makes sense. I'll give you another example. Hated what Nick Spencer did to Captain America. To me, it just seemed counterintuitive. Matt Woods, how are you, sir? It seemed counterintuitive to what the character does and what I've seen of him so far. But I like, trying to give another example, I liked a lot of what Dan Slott did with Spider-Man. You know, that's a character that kind of has to have a change of pace every so often. And I like that he took him from a school teacher to the head of his own company and pretty much back again. And look, there are parts of Dan Slott's run, and there's parts of all runs that I don't care for. To this day, Red Goblin kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit. It just didn't seem like a great, I have that same set of glasses at my house. Oh yeah. These are the Bed Bath & Beyond special. I don't know. It seems to me. Oh, Red Goblin. I'm sorry. I had lost my train of thought. Yeah, I just thought it was redundant. I didn't think it was particularly well done. And to this day, and this is just my little way that my mind works, whenever I hear Red Goblin, I keep thinking of the Red Robin theme song, you know, Red Robin, yum, but Red Goblin. Again, just me. But yeah, I'm liking the series a lot. I can't wait to finish reading it. I'm not currently reading Batman. I've said that before. I do have the number 125 acetate downstairs yet to read. But again, he's just kind of a character at this point I've kind of hit the wall with. And in fact, you know what? Maybe you guys can help me out here. I know, Chris Bigger, you're more into DC than I am. I was thinking about this last night. I kind of feel like Marvel is a little bit more flexible, I guess you could say, in their stories, as far as, you know, where you can take a character and really who takes center stage in the Marvel universe. You know, sometimes the X-Men seem like they're the focus of the Marvel universe. Sometimes it's the Avengers. Sometimes it's Moon Knight. Occasionally it's Eternals. You know, my point is that whenever they have these big kind of flagship reads or series, they tend to be very good about switching it around. Whereas I feel like DC, and again, it just, at least what I've seen, I don't go very deep with them at all, are less flexible with their characters. And as a result, I feel like when there's a bigger change or a drastic change, I feel like there's more backlash, if that makes sense. You kind of saw that a little bit with, well, I guess you could say a lot actually with Superman in these last couple of years. You know, people had a problem with his son being gay and whatnot. Um, I don't know. I kind of think that my personal opinion, and I've said this before, if you feel strongly because of a fictional character's sexual preference, religion, what have you, I think you got to reprioritize. I mean, look, not every comic is for you, not every movie is for you, not every show is for you. You don't have to watch it. Depends on which character DC's using. Chris, that's part of my little assessment. Oh, the little guy's waking up. Is he going back to sleep? I don't think so. I might have to disappear to grab him just for a second. I feel like, you know what it is, Chris? I feel like in the last few big DC stories I've read, or at least that I've been aware of, it's either Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, or all three. It's never, hey, let's focus on Blue Beetle, for example. Again, just my assessment, and that's why I say, look, I know that you know more about DC than me. If I'm wrong, let me know and tell me, you know, what the series is, because I'd like to read it. You know, I'm always interested in picking up new titles and reading new stuff. But speaking of which, this is my last of my reads for this week. This is Sandman Nightmare Country #4. This has been a really trippy book. Vastly different, I can assure you, from anything you'd see with X-Men or whatnot. If you're watching the series, I know some people have said that they've been watching the series but haven't necessarily read the comic. I don't see a connection as far as with the actual TV series, other than the Corinthian is the focus of this series. So you could pick this up, in other words, if all the reference to Sandman that you know is from there. If not, I have to say the Corinthian storyline in the original Sandman comic, I read them in trade paperback, is definitely one of the better chapters in my opinion. And Corinthian is a very, very creepy character. This book, I've got to tell you, it is more wordy than most modern day books. Oh, hold on a second. Let me go back here. Just want to break in for the comments. So Chris, let's have you here. The big three, the flagship, those are the go-to. I agree that I wish DC would go to the bench and do more character development. Yeah, and you know what? I think that's why I like Tom King so much, because he seems like he has the ability to take these secondary characters that not a lot of people are looking at, like, for example, Miracle Man, and make a good and intriguing story out of them. Fanboy, let's see what you have here. Jeff Johns is really the only DC writer in the last 20 years that could get major events to focus on characters that aren't the Trinity. Yeah, I agree with you there. I'll say this. I read all of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, and on a whole, I thought it was good. For me, it kind of fell off a lot after Blackest Night, which I was just hoping for a little bit more of. But yeah, I enjoyed Jeff Johns. I'm trying to think if there's anything he's read that I didn't care. You know what? I think he was writing Flash at one point, and it might be just the character itself, but I couldn't get into it. But Flash is just a character I haven't been able to get into ever, to be honest with you. Okay, and more about Nightmare Country. As I was saying, this is wordier than a modern day comic, but I don't mind that. You know, the length of a comic, as long as it's done well, no matter if it's long or short, to me, it doesn't matter. You know, I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons I kind of got a little frustrated with Brian Michael Bendis at the end of his Ultimate Spider-Man run was I felt like, one, he was using a lot of the same plot devices where early on in the series, there's a note passing scene between Peter and Mary Jane. And the first time I saw it, I thought, wow, this is really beautifully done. This is great. But I think he used it like a couple more times. It just, I don't know, didn't work for me. And it was getting to the point where you can literally pick up a Brian Michael Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man and read it in about 5 minutes, because he was like, okay, I'm going to try something without words. okay, I get it, but he went back to the well at least one too many times, in my opinion. I enjoyed John's Wally West Flash work, not his Barry Allen Flash work. I have to think. I think maybe what I picked up was the Barry Allen. You know what it is when DC did, and this will transition, I guess, into our main topic. When DC did the New 52 about 10 years or so ago at this point, um, my LCS ran a special that you can pick up each first issue for like a ridiculously low price when they came out. Uh, it was like you had to agree to get the first 3 issues of each series. So I did that, and you know there are things that I really liked out of that. I loved Swamp Thing and Animal Man. Jeff Sewell and Jeff Sewell now. Sewell and Lemire. Yeah, I'm thinking of Jeff Lemire, and that's why, and Charles Sewell. So Jeff Lemire and Charles Sewell really created 2 books that worked well together. And Animal Man was a character I knew nothing about before that. I'll say this. Swamp Thing I knew about, but didn't know a whole bunch about. That is, to me, still to this day, the standout of the New 52, in my opinion. I did read all of Superman during the New 52. I was just missing a couple issues towards the end because I thought it was a different take on it. Again, I like when they try to do something interesting. Batman I had stuck with, but Flash for some reason just, I don't know, never really appealed to me. The only other standouts of the New 52 I really enjoyed. Early on, I liked the I forgot who wrote it. I think it was Straczynski. Could be wrong. Maybe not, because I think he retired from comics by that point. But they tried to do something with Aquaman where he was kind of like a Conan the Barbarian type of character, and it wasn't the Aquaman that we know. It was a different Aquaman, and that was interesting until about maybe 5 or 6 issues in. I was like, okay, they're really not doing too much with it, so I had dropped it at that point. I also really remember liking Resurrection Man. Just I thought that was a unique idea for a character. If you didn't know that, basically, he's a character who was designed to die and then come back with a different power set. Um, I hadn't read him before, and I don't think he's really been around since, but I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. Other than that, like I said, I did read all the titles in the New 52 when they came out. The only other one I remember is Hawk and Dove, but I just remember because I really didn't like that one. I remember joking. I thought it was kind of like the Nick Millinan wife of comics. But yeah, I don't know. As far as DC resetting their universe, and that was really the main topic of discussion. Again, I'm behind on my DC stuff. For the longest time, I was just reading Batman from DC and maybe picking up a couple other issues of other things from here and there. I read Wonder Woman during G. Willow Winslow's run. G. Wilson, the woman who created Ms. Marvel. Sorry, I didn't have coffee today, so I'm not very sharp. I read her run in the last couple issues after that, and I didn't care for that. Which, now come to think of it, I could be wrong, but I think it was it Steve Orlando who took over after her? And if you follow me on Instagram, or if you watch my show like you're doing now, you know that I recently dropped Marauders. I really didn't like it. And Orlando headed that up. He was the writer on that. And he's writing a Scarlet Witch series soon for Marvel. I'm not checking it out solely based on the fact that I don't like his writing. But again, that's just me. As far as the DC reset goes, look, if they could take it and actually do something interesting with it, great. But I just kind of feel like there's a bit of a reset fatigue. And Main Event, I think you're agreeing with me here too. I think there's a reset fatigue with DC. If anything else, it's just because I feel like not a lot of the same elements carry over. To me, and Chris, tell me if I'm wrong, during New 52, I felt like Batman was the only character whose history really kind of carried over into that universe. And now we're, like 2 or 3 universes later, and it's still, I don't know, Batman is a constant. But I don't know. I think the danger is, I think when you make a change to a character, it's possible to have a character evolve. We all know that. But I think the difference between having it done well and having it done like how DC has been doing it um, is just that you don't have to just say, okay, stop everything. We're taking a left-hand turn. I think that you have to do it gradually, or if you do it, at least do it in a way where you're not just basically saying, all right, we're taking everything you know with this character and throwing it out the window. I mean, yeah, you might pick up some new readers, but you're going to piss off your base, your people may who've been reading the comic for a while. Um, I really liked too. I'm sorry, I forgot. I liked Green Arrow in the New 52, and I followed Green Arrow closely up until shortly after the wedding of Black Canary. I thought it really took a left turn. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, like I had felt like I was a little invested with these characters, and then it's like, oh, well, this isn't the real Green Arrow. It's like, okay, well, then I guess I didn't really like this book. Batman is the most protected DC character. Yeah, I agree. Snyder and Capullo were great. Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. I was subscribed to Scott Snyder's Substack for a while. I just non-renewed my membership with it. And his first episode, he actually had Capullo on, and they were just doing like a video conference, and they were talking. What was interesting, Snyder was still a little wet behind the ears as far as with DC goes. So he hadn't met Capullo yet. It was the first time they were going to be writing together. He was sending with his scripts different visual references, and Snyder kept saying, I'm just I was just thought that you nailed the pictures so well, and you really got the reference. And Capullo was cracking up the entire time. He's like, I'm going to be honest with you. You showing me these images, it's the first time I've seen them. He's like, excuse me. When you sent me the script, I just got like a image of a paper with an X through it. Like his images were not coming through. Excuse me. So I don't know. I thought that was funny. And then apparently they had to really fight to do the was it the Court of Owls issue that you have to turn all around to read. I don't know if you're unaware of that one. I don't know even how they do that in reprints, if they kept it the same way, but apparently the publisher or the editor at the time hated it. And they basically had to both threaten to walk off the book if it wasn't printed in the way that they drew it. So, and that's kind of interesting. And I'll be honest with you, after hearing that, I did grab that issue out of my boxes and laid it on the floor, just like Capullo said he did, and just kind of walked around it. And it's a different experience reading the book. But as I was saying, I think that if you take a character and you say, all right, from now on, we're just making a total left-hand turn with this. Captain America was a perfect example. Everything you knew about Captain America, they made a left-hand turn with during Secret Empire. And I think that's why there was so much of backlash, is because it's such a drastic change. Now, what's interesting, with certain character resetting stories, it might not be appreciated so much at the time, but years down the road, you might see people getting some kind of affinity for it. Dan Slott's run on Spider-Man, I think, is a perfect example. I remember when I was reading it, people hating Dan Slott and what he was doing. And now it's finally getting, here 10 years later, I think, some traction, especially with Superior Spider-Man. So, I mean, I'm hoping that DC, if they're doing a reset, they're doing it they're making it well worth it. They've gained a lot of traction, I think, over the last year or two, especially with characters like Nightwing, which, again, I haven't read the series, but I hear people talking about it constantly. It's great. Superman, the only thing I'm hearing about right now is, and I have to say it like this, I'm hearing about it because I'm not reading it myself, is the Gladiator kind of story, and I think that's just ending now too. I mean, other than that, I kind of had to resign myself to the fact that if I'm picking up a Catwoman comic at this point, it's not necessarily for the story. Nicest thing I could say about it. I don't think that they've done Catwoman well since the since her new since her new series has started. But like I said, that's just my opinion. Well, this is all I have for you today. I know it's a shorter episode. Again, I didn't have a pickup, and my reads were, although great, it's primarily all in one story. Again, I'm going to go back and look to the person who entered this last week, and I'll have this signed copy of Isolation, signed by Doug and Delia, sent out to them. If you're coming in late or if you're watching the replay, I'm going to be giving away, as part of, why don't we just say a prize pack for this week, a copy of the Phil Noto Quiet Council cover of Emma Frost, or as Zach likes to call it, the Hello Nurse cover. And if you're interested in this, DM me on Instagram. I'll give you guys like a week again to reply back. I've actually enjoyed Catwoman. Well, let me ask you, which and I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm generally curious, but what are you enjoying about it? What aren't you enjoying about it? Because I mean, I could tell you, I kind of jumped off when Rom V started. It just didn't feel like there was anything uniquely different that they were trying with the character, at least in my opinion. I did like Catwoman during that New 52 era as well, but a little bit less than Brubaker's run, which I think is the best out of the more modern ones. Let's see. Main event. The writers of Action Comics built up the War World saga as the biggest Superman event since Death of Superman. It has not lived up. It's like Superman as John Carter. Yeah, and I picked up one issue a couple months ago because it was pretty much like a tribute cover to the Reign of Superman on it. And same thing, it felt disingenuous. I felt like, all right, we're going to take this Superman, this square peg, and put it into this round circle and see what happens. But hey, look, on the flip side of the coin, it worked for Hulk. I think the setup was just a lot better, at least in my opinion. But as I was saying, if you're watching this and you came in late, or if you're watching on the replay, if you're interested in getting the Hello Nurse cover of Immortal X-Men #4, as well as I'm going to throw a trade pack back in. I just don't know what yet. DM me on Instagram. I will pick a winner next week and get that out to you. And to the person who entered my giveaway for last week, I'll get that out to you shortly as well. Yeah, I would love to see Donny Cates with Superman. I'm not the biggest Donny Cates fan, Chris. I'm certainly not a hater, but I don't know. I've read a few of his things. I didn't read Hulk. I didn't read Thor. If Marvel doesn't brand it that, they're missing out. Just saying. If Marvel doesn't brand it that, I don't know what it, Zach. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Well, they never will. Yeah, they're not going to say this is the Hello Nurse cover, especially because Hello Nurse Animaniacs is owned by Warner Brothers. The art's pretty good, and the Catwoman story is focused on her return to Gotham and being the anti-hero who fights the little people. Yeah, maybe I should check that out then, because I felt like it took a total left-hand turn from there. Like I understood, when the series started, she left Gotham after the wedding that didn't happen at that point, at least. And then I just kind of felt like it meandered a little bit, at least in my opinion. I generally don't like Teenie Howard's work. I think she's the current writer. So I've kind of stayed away. And the issues that I have read, I thought it was kind of weird. I felt like she was pushing this very women's empowerment type of story. And meanwhile, on the cover, you had Catwoman in like a negligee type of thing. So the cover didn't fit the tone in that one. If DC wants to change things, they should just kill Bruce Wayne and make it stick. I don't know that I agree with you, Maine. I think that there is a way to change a character without necessarily killing them off. Batman is that type of character, and I've said this before, that I feel like every writer wants to get their hands on because it's a great toy box to play in. But at the end of the day, when the next writer takes over, you're putting all your toys away and it's starting fresh. And I think that's what I find frustrating about Batman, and that's why I personally have stopped reading it regularly. I mean, again, if you get lucky, maybe you have one or two characters that you've created that stick, like Snyder did with the Court of Owls, for example. But at the same time, we're not going to remember a Mr. Bloom or whatever that guy, that flower guy was at the end of his run. Punchline, has managed to stay relevant. I don't know how. I personally haven't found her to be an interesting character. Again, at least in my opinion. A lot of those secondary characters that who was writing it during that time? Tinian created was a Ghostmaker. I can't remember the computer girl's name. And was it Molly something? I don't know. Clown Hunter. Clown Hunter I liked, but you have to ask, are they really going to have a place now post Tinian that he's not writing the series anymore? I know Ghostmaker, Miracle Molly, thank you. I know Ghostmaker is going to be in a series, not his own series, of course. Miracle Molly, I thought she was interesting. I don't know if they're doing anything else with her, but she's one of the elements I would have liked to see explore a little bit more during Tinian's stories. Clown Hunter, I think, is a great character as well. I don't know what they'll do with him, if anything. So you have to wonder, are they going to just put these characters away at some point and pretend like it never happened? Like I was going to say Peacemaker. That's not his name, though. The enforcement. Ghostmaker is in something main event. I don't know what exactly, though. I remember seeing him in the previews. But the Peacekeeper, that is. The Peacekeeper, like, I doubt you're going to see him ever pop up again. And if it does, maybe just something in the background or something like that. And that's kind of my frustration with Batman. It's like, all right, well, you read all this, and now it's just kind of gone. Because when the next writer takes over, that they're going to bring out Penguin, they're going to bring out Joker, they're going to bring out Riddler, they're going to bring out Scarecrow. To Snyder's credit, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I remember Catwoman being a big part of Snyder's run on Batman at all. It seemed like to me, I remember him doing some actually pretty interesting things with the Joker, which I have to say is the most interesting take I've seen on the Joker since then. Certainly, I didn't like how Tinian handled him. King's I thought was interesting. I think the Riddler was a more interesting villain, though, in King's run. But like I said, look, if they're going to do Reset, just make it worth it. Batman One Bad Day, Riddler #1 is worth picking up. Yeah, I mean, in main event, to be honest with you, that's kind of another issue I have with DC. They put out a lot of these great Black Label books. Oh, so it's a different Ghostmaker? Kept saying that it might be a different character. Yeah, and that's what my thing is, Chris. Like, okay, use somebody else. But yeah, part of the issue I have on a whole with DC, they've put out a lot of great Black Label books that just, in the long run, go nowhere. Ghostmaker's training clown killer in the comics. Okay. Like even this story is, the Batman Catwoman story is a DC Black Label title. So at the end of the day, you can read it. It would be great, but then is whatever happens in this Riddler's Bad Day going to carry over to the actual Riddler character? And that's been kind of my frustration with the Black Label books on a whole. Like the Black Labels, come to think of it, that I've picked up, Batman Damned, Batman the Last Night, just off the top of my head, and the Catwoman series, which I don't believe is wrapped up yet. Catwoman has been the only one that I've been like, all right, I like this take on it. Take a different villain, make them more relevant, right? Oh, I see, Cup. Never mind. Yeah, but Ghostmaker, I feel like I saw him in the DC previews. Maybe he's going to be part of whatever Ram V is going to be doing with Detective Comics, but who knows? So I mean, yeah, the Black, and the other issue I have with the Black Label, besides the fact that they're bigger, so you have to get different bags and boards to protect them, which is just my little thing. It's not a huge problem. I don't always feel like the price necessarily justifies the quality of the book. That's just me. Okay, so I mean, Main Event, you do bring up a good point. If it's a one-shot and self-contained, yeah, that's fine. I've read plenty of great one-shots, but for the amount of stuff that I'm reading, just me personally, if I'm going to invest the time and the money into a DC Black Label book, I want to see some sort of a ripple in the future books. Like, I'm not saying that has to dictate this is how the Riddler is going to be from now on, but I do want to see some sort of a nuance of this story in that character. And I feel that's where I kind of feel like Marvel is a little bit stronger with DC. They don't do it all the time, but if something works, they do kind of incorporate that into the character a little bit. Now, just like any company, if something doesn't work, both of them, of course, are very quick to reverse everything. Yeah, I don't know. Again, like I said, it's just my opinion. And that's kind of, again, why I've stepped back from Batman a lot. That's the other thing that bothers me, too, is that Batman's got, I think at this point, over half of the DC books that are published each week or each month are Batman books. Luckily, I think that you can read Batman without reading Detective. I could be wrong on that, but who knows? I do intend, by the way, I was looking at the DC Infinity service again. I do intend on subscribing soon just to kind of catch up because there are a lot of DC stories I do want to read. Unexpected visitors showed up. Oh, no, not a problem, fanboy. I'm actually just wrapping up. So as I was saying too, again, if you want to enter the giveaways, go ahead and DM me on Instagram. I want to get some comics to you. It helps me because it's less that I have to catalog and clean up. So you're doing me a favor. But thanks again for checking in with me this weekend. I know this was a bit of a quieter episode. Again, it's just me and my son right now. He's went back to sleep. And, look, we're having our boys' day. Making beef jerky, doing riverboat gambling tours, shitting with the door open. All that stuff from Step Brothers. And to be fair, he's in diapers. He's always going with the door open. Doesn't matter to him. But I'm going to go ahead and finally check out. We're almost at an hour. And it is a nice Saturday, so hopefully my wife gets home soon so I can go out and enjoy it as well, too. At least do some yard work or something. But I want to thank everybody again for watching. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope that you have a great week, too. I do have one video already recorded for next week, and I'm hoping to do a 7-minute stories live this week. So stay tuned for that. Best way to see when it's coming up is to go on Instagram, but I'll make sure that I plan something out early. And by the way, too, if you do want to volunteer for a 7-minute story, Main Event, Zach, Chris, these guys who like to pop in a lot, let me know. Let's schedule something. I'd really be interested in doing it. And I have a couple of new additions to show you on the 7-minute stories, just to make it live. Thanks again for watching. Peace, love, and comics. Take care, all.